As a public defender, Judge Karen fought for her clients' rights. She was elected to the bench because she believes in doing the right thing.
I'm very passionate about helping people, period. Sometimes life pulls you from up here to down here to teach you a lesson. And you're in a valley right now. And there are lessons in this valley. I hope you learn from them.
Objective, independent justice.
You can always turn your life around. If you keep walking, you can overcome whatever circumstances you're facing.
This is Supreme Justice with Judge Karen. Jamie Snyder is suing her neighbor, Shirley Bernstein, in the amount of $1,875. Ms. Snyder claims she was attacked by the defendant's dog and says she's owed for the resulting pain, suffering, and medical bills. Ms. Bernstein claims she left her dog in her bedroom so it wouldn't bother any of her party guests and says the plaintiff shouldn't have been in the house to begin with.
All right, Ms. Snyder, you're suing Ms. Bernstein for $1,875 for medical bills suffered by a dog bite. Is that right?
That is correct.
And it's your dog, I'm assuming?
Yes, ma'am.
So what happened? How do you know the defendant?
Well, Shirley, she's my neighbor.
Right.
And we live on the same block.
Right.
And I kind of really don't like her too much.
Why don't you like her?
Well, she's always acting like she's the queen of the neighborhood and like she owns the block. And
right.
now...
What does she do that makes you think that she acts like she owns the block?
Well, she does a lot of things, but right now she's the president of HOA.
Okay.
And
that's because people elected me to be the president. She's the only person.
How many homeowners are there?
25.
Okay. So it's like a small community.
It's a small community.
Single family homes.
Single family homes or just small family homes.
Okay. All right. So you think what? You don't like her?
No. I'm sorry, Your Honor, but I tried to connect with her, and it just wasn't working out.
What did you do to try to connect with her?
Well, when she first moved into the neighborhood, I went to her home. And
so you lived there first?
I lived there first, yes, that's correct.
So when she moved in, what did you do?
So I, greeted myself and welcomed her into the neighborhood, and
did you take cookies over to the house, anything like that, a cake?
I wish I did.
Yeah, but that's what you do when you get a new neighbor.
That is true.
That's how you build community. When I moved into my last house, some lady across the street bought cookies, somebody else left a plant on my doorstep. I mean, this is what neighbors do. That's how you have community.
That's true.
That's the first thing you should have done. Or give her that fruit cake that you had in the cabinet in the back from your grandma. But something to say, welcome to the community, but you didn't do that.
No, I didn't.
So what did you do?
Well, I just
went over and say, hey.
I just went over to say hey and told her.
Empty-handed.
Empty-handed, but I told her if she needed anything or if she had any questions, she could always reach out.
How'd you feel about that?
I mean, I thought it was nice. I mean, what you said is something that's a dying art. I think people don't do that as much anymore. But I mean, the very least, her coming over, because some people didn't, because
that's true.
Neighbors aren't as connected.
Y'all didn't connect then when she came over to welcome you to the neighborhood?
No, I'm a night nurse. I work the evening shift, so I do a lot of sleeping during the day. So, I guess I'm pretty preoccupied for the most part, but I've been more open. Like, that's part of the reason why I did have the party that we're here to talk about.
So you threw a party?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it like a block party?
Yeah, it was a block party. Well, for our cul-de-sac. It was a 4th of July party to celebrate me becoming the new HOA president.
Okay, and you were invited?
Yeah, I invited everyone.
Was invited?
I invited everyone.
Okay, well, if you didn't like her, why did you go over there?
I didn't want to be the only one in the neighborhood not to go.
Right, you could have made up an excuse. You had to do work, or somebody's in the hospital, or you got a flu. You could have made up something.
Of course, I could have.
Right.
But I recently broke up with my boyfriend.
Why'd y'all break up?
I don't want to talk about that here. I mean, obviously that's the past, so I'm trying to leave the past in the past.
I'm always interested in relationships,
I mean,
but I understand. He just wasn't the one.
He just wasn't the one.
Okay.
And,
so you didn't have anywhere else to go, so you decided to go to the party at the lady's house who you don't like.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Same thing I thought, Your Honor.
Okay, so tell me how you decorated for the party.
I had misters so you could stay cool outside. I had umbrellas.
Right.
I had pool noodles for the kids.
Okay.
I had...
So you have a swimming pool too?
Yes, ma'am. I have a swimming pool with a bathroom by the swimming pool.
Cabana
outside.
bath. All
yes.
right.
Cabana.
Okay. What did you take to the party?
I had brought some drinks.
Right.
2 liters.
She bought what?
She brought store brand, like no name brand 2 liters.
I didn't know that you had to bring a brand or like, you know, what's
like
popular,
you
what's
mean 2
not.
liters of Coke or something like that?
Not Coke, like not the brand name. She brought like the
like
99-cent.
Check.
2 for 79-cent, 2 liters.
Wow.
Well, you know what though? It's a thought that counts. And that's what she thought about you.
That's what she...
We're here on a dog bite case. I'm just
Yeah,
wondering.
I know. I mean, I'm trying to get there.
Let's
but
get there. What were you doing?
So I go into the house to cool off.
Right.
Right? Because I seen people in the house. There was no sign at the door.
Said not to come in.
Yeah, not to come in.
Right.
So I go in there, thought
Right.
that was okay.
Right.
And I asked someone, where's the bathroom?
Somebody who was in the house.
Somebody who was in the house.
Was a neighbor? Was it anybody that you recognized?
How no?
Okay, but somebody.
Somebody in the house.
What was
yeah.
that person doing?
They were just by the kitchen.
Okay. And you said, where's the bathroom?
Yeah, so I asked them, where's the bathroom?
Okay.
And they told me it's down the hall, 2 doors to the left.
Okay.
So I go down the hall, two doors to the left. And I open up the door, and there go her pit bull. It jumped on me. It bit my hand. It latched on. I'm screaming.
Coming up on Supreme Justice.
What kind of pain and suffering have you had?
I mean, when you get bit by a pit bull, that's pain. And there goes, you're suffering too. Like, seriously, come on.
And later,
when we tried to play the file, it was corrupted.
Well, what causes a file to be corrupted?
I'm not a technician, ma'am.
Well, I'm not either.
closed captioning provided by. If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching Supreme Justice with Judge Karen. Supreme Justice is back with the case of Jamie Snyder, who is suing Shirley Bernstein for $1,875.
You have pictures of the bite?
I don't have pictures of the bite.
Where was the bite?
Huh? It was in my right hand.
Okay. Well, let me see your hand.
Here.
Okay, and did you have to have stitches there?
Yes.
How many stitches did you
5
have?
stitches.
Okay, all right, you can step in.
And a tetanus shot.
Your Honor, do you see scars there with the stitches?
I don't ask the question.
Okay.
I have a medical bill here as well.
Okay, let me see the medical bill. All right, so here's an invoice for $875. And so why are you suing for $1,875?
Okay, well, for the $1,000 is for pain and suffering.
What kind of pain and suffering have you had?
I mean, when you get bit by a pit bull, that's pain. And there goes, you're suffering too. Like, seriously, come on.
Stop a minute, because pain and suffering is a real legal term, and you have to actually prove up pain and suffering. Of course, if a dog bites you, it's painful, and maybe you suffer, but that's not proving pain and suffering. I'm not going to tell you how to prove it, but you haven't proven yet pain and suffering. So why don't you think you owe her at least for her medical expenses?
Because, Your Honor, my dog was in my bedroom, and the average person knocks on a bathroom door at the very least. She didn't do that.
How do you know? Well, you weren't there.
Your Honor, if you were to knock on the door, if you were to startle him, he would bark. And if she's so afraid of dogs, would you go into a room that you hear a dog barking behind? But it sounds like she just barked in.
Well, how do you know he barked or didn't bark?
Because
that time?
he barks.
Because in the past he's barked.
Yes, ma'am. Like, if he was rustling in the bushes, he barks.
But that particular day, you don't know if he barked.
I don't know, but I know his behavior.
Has he ever bitten anybody before?
No, ma'am.
No. And how old is the dog?
My dog is 2.5 years old.
Okay, so most states have a strict liability dog bite statute, which means there's basically no defense once your dog bites someone, except the state of Texas, where you guys are from. There's no statute in Texas on a dog bite. There's a Supreme Court case out of Texas in 1974 to set up the standard of whether or not the owner of the dog would be liable for a bite. So there's two questions to ask. One, did the owner know that the dog had bitten someone before? You're telling me no. Did you ever hear about this dog biting somebody before?
No.
Or did the owner fail to use care to prevent the bite from happening in the first place?
That she failed.
Your Honor, I
Okay,
didn't.
excuse me, counselor. Let me do my job.
Your Honor, no. No one else had this problem. Everyone else knew. Everyone abided by the bathroom sign. I had him in my
I
bedroom.
have a lot of parties.
Yes, ma'am.
Lot of parties. I go all out just like her. Decorations, entertainment, and you any holiday, I have a lot of parties. And you should have known that there would be a possibility that with this number of people, that somebody might go in your house. And it's not enough that your dog was just in the room behind a closed door. The dog should have been locked somewhere in your house, in your bedroom, in the laundry room, but you should have taken more care to make sure that this dog didn't bite anybody.
I'm
ready to rule, but before I do, I guess our relationship isn't going to get any better. Is that true? There's no hope?
There's always hope, but this doesn't help.
Right, but there's still hope. She's at least leaving the door open, but make sure it's locked. She's still leaving the door open for friendship with you.
I'm going to see how you rule, and then we'll see.
Well, it's going to be based on what I do now. It sounded to me, in hearing your story, I don't know you, that you sound like you're jealous. So you need to check your own attitude. It's not up to me to tell you what your motives are, but you really need to think about, what are my motives here, really? I'm ready to rule. I'm not giving you pain and suffering because you didn't prove to me that you are entitled to pain and suffering judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $875. Good luck to you.
Judge Karen has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $875.
I'm sorry my dog bit you, and I hope we can work this out.
After I get my money, we can talk about it.
Coming up,
Oh, so you weren't responsible for the entire event.
No, I was the head of the event.
You were head of the event. You just don't seem like you know a whole lot about events.
closed captioning provided by. You're watching Supreme Justice with Judge Karen. Floyd Weaver is suing event planner Terry Smalls in the amount of $2,000. Mr. Weaver claims he didn't get the splashy performance he expected for an album release party and blames the defendant. Mr. Smalls claims the plaintiff made changes to the program at the last minute and says he isn't responsible for the technical difficulties that happened.
Mr. Weaver, you're suing Mr. Smalls for $2,000?
Correct.
For breach of contract on a party.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
All right, and what type of party was this?
So this was an album release party.
And whose album?
This was for my client. I'm a manager of an up-and-coming R&B band.
And what are you, a party planner or what?
Yes, I'm an event
An
planner.
event planner?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. And how did you find this gentleman?
He was highly recommended to me by a friend.
So what is it that you wanted him to do?
So we wanted to have, this was at the Universal Ballroom, we wanted to have food, we wanted to have a top DJ, we wanted to have a red carpet.
Right.
The main focal thing was a 3D performance.
Well, okay, wait, let's stop. Okay, so is there a contract?
Yes.
Let me see the contract. How much was this supposed to cost you?
This was, all told, I was paying Terry $4,000.
$4,000.
Yes.
How many people were supposed to come?
It was about 300.
How you going to do a party for 300 people on $4,000? What would you get for $4,000 with 300 people?
It's a big event.
So if I divide 300 into 4,000, how much is that? That's $13. So for $13 a person, you were going to get what?
The space is it's at the Universal Ballroom.
Okay, how much did that cost to rent the ballroom?
Well, I was paying that separately.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so you didn't have to do that part. Okay,
Correct.
and what else? What were you giving him then for $4,000?
I was setting up all the media. There was
Okay.
also the red carpet.
Right.
There was also, the
Oh,
table.
so you weren't responsible for the entire event.
No, I was the head of the event.
You were head of the event. You just don't seem like you know a whole lot about events.
Coming up,
Where are the Kino Motion people? Because it's all on their system. Where are they?
Not sure.
What do you mean you're not sure? When you got dressed this morning and you knew you were coming to court, you didn't think, I might need some evidence.
Good point.
Closed captioning provided by. You're watching Supreme Justice with Judge Karen. Supreme Justice is back with the case of Floyd Weaver, who is suing Terry Smalls for breach of contract.
So why are we here today with this lawsuit for $2,000?
The focal point of it was this 3D animated performance.
Okay.
It was going to be synced up with music, and that was what was going to drum up our band for the media. That was going to be the big splash.
Okay.
That's the whole point.
Okay. That's the biggest thing he was supposed to do.
Right.
So when did you get the materials to him that he needed to present the presentation on your band?
So that was the day before.
You waited to the last minute?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's how things roll.
All right, so he provided you the file that needed to be converted to this 3D thing. Mm-hmm. And then what happened?
The day before, I made sure we did a test run with Kino Motion.
Right, of the system.
And everything was great. It was fine. I slept really well that night.
Okay.
But the day of, at like 6 p.m., I get an email saying they want to change the single of the performance that they want to do.
Well, that's changing the whole thing. We're doing
ma'am.
another song.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, but I provided it.
But I mean, hours before your event that you contracted for months and months ago, you decide we're going to change the song.
Right, it was the band's feeling that we needed to change the song and the animation that goes with it, of course, since that's the performance.
So then you said that to him.
Correct.
Okay, what happened then?
7 is when the 3D company came, Kino Motion. At 9, we tried to play on the system, but it would not boot. So we had to reboot it. I had my technician handle this.
Okay.
And it took about 15 minutes. And then when we tried to play the file, it was corrupted.
Well, what causes a file to be corrupted?
I'm not a technician, ma'am.
Well, I'm not either. So somebody needs to explain to me corruption of a file. Do you know?
There was like an error. There was like an error that popped up.
Well, on whose end does the corruption happen? On the sender's end or on the receiver's end?
The 3D system that was provided by Kino Motion.
Where are the Kino Motion people? Because it's all on their system. Where are they?
Not sure.
What do you mean you're not sure? When you got dressed this morning and you knew you were coming to court, you didn't think, I might need some evidence.
Good point.
Judge Karen's verdict when Supreme Justice returns. Promotional consideration provided by. You're watching Supreme Justice with Judge Karen.
So you were negligent in getting this thing to him at the last minute, and you were negligent in not bringing Kino in here as a co-defendant because it looks like it might have been part of their system. So I'm going to split the baby on this. You're asking for $2,000. We'll give you half. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. Good luck to you. Hope you learned something.
Judge Karen has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $1,000.
I paid you for a full event and you didn't deliver.
Well, if you had waited until the last minute, this wouldn't have happened.
This has been a production of Entertainment Studios.